Welcome to the Mapper Forward Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro Friends, not the Mapper Forward podcast. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro Friends. Today is episode 200 of the Daily Coffee Pro, and I can't tell you how excited I am to have gotten here. We started this podcast almost a year ago, the Daily Coffee Pro version. So I just want to say thanks for sticking it out. Thanks for all your emails. Thanks for your encouragement and consuming the content and engaging and telling me what you think and all that kind of fun stuff. I do this for you. This is the way that I can give back to our community by stimulating thoughts and conversations that you might be able to take into your workplace and encourage open-minded discussion. So above everything, I just want to say thank you. And thank you to all the companies that sponsor our podcast and enable this to be a free platform. It really means a lot, and the value that we're able to bring to the industry by challenging people to perhaps think differently and open their minds is wonderful. So thanks to everyone that is involved in doing all of this. Today on the Daily Coffee Pro, this is episode 5 of a 5-part series and episode 200 of the Daily Coffee Pro, as we said. And I don't know that there's a more poignant place for us to be at in this discussion, in this moment of history of humanity, than talking about what we're going to talk about today, which is communicating online. This week, we have been discussing communication strategies in the coffee industry. And communicating online is something that really brings a lot of what we've been talking about to a head. I have found that the early stages of communicating online with the coffee industry were quite savage. And, we're talking about 15 years ago through coffee forums and different platforms like that, blogs and et cetera, et cetera. And things have not changed that much, although I think they are starting to head in a different direction. And I'm excited about that. But why is this today, more than any time in history, a very important topic for us to think about? And that's because of what's evolving with regards to the current potential coronavirus outbreak. Now, things that I'm concerned about with regards to communicating online as an industry in moments like this are things that tend to lead towards hysteria building. Right before we started this podcast episode, our newsletter went out with our new blog post about this particular thing. Now, communicating online isn't just through social media. Communicating online happens when we communicate as brands through blog posts, when we communicate through our websites, when we communicate through podcasts, when we communicate through social media, the way that we comment on posts and engage with each other. And during this very challenging time that's unfolding, and the potentiality for hysteria to build, the way that we engage together can tip the scales whether we as an industry do become hysterical or whether we approach this calmly. I want to encourage you to think of how your engagement online could feed a hysteria monster versus how you might be an active participant and leader in our industry, whether you're leading just locally or on an industry basis, by communicating facts by reputable sources. And reputable sources in these instances are the World Health Organization, WHO.int, or places like the CDC, the Center for Disease and Control and Prevention at cdc.gov. So those are the places that once they release information, they're not kidding around, and they're not going to release information that could cause hysteria. So if something is being released by either of those two organizations, they're the kinds of facts that you should be communicating to people and using as a reference. In times like this, if what you do is spread information that isn't factual, you are feeding potential for hysteria that doesn't do anybody any good in uncertain times. Being prepared and communicating the strategies that you've got with your customers, with your co-workers, with your community is really important, and online is one really great way to do that. Another thing I want to say about this situation right now, if you are commenting on other people's posts and being racist or being triggering or being offensive or any of that kind of stuff, I want you to remember, once it's on the internet, it never goes away. And once this situation is gone, people are going to remember the way that you responded during this situation, and that will follow you through your career. And so being rational, being assertive, being caring, considerate, respectful, supportive, compassionate, all of these things are things you should be thinking about, not just in this coronavirus situation, but always when it comes to communicating online and in real life. It's an opportunity for you to lead. And if you are looking for advice, for hints, for tips on how to do that moving forward, I would steer you to our blog post that we just released. If you're on our mailing list, check your emails. You will have received it by now. Otherwise, you can go to our blog, mapitforward.org/blog. And there is a blog post up there that has a bunch of things that you should do to professionally prepare for a coronavirus outbreak, whether you're a business owner or whether you're an employee or professional. So this is a really important time. I caution you not to buy into hysteria and not to create hysteria through your communication strategies online. We need to be supportive of each other, and we need to lead, whether we're leading ourselves or we're leading a team. Every one of us is a leader, and I encourage you to dig deep and to prepare and to be rational. And again, I know I've said it 500 times through this podcast episode, but not be hysterical. Let's be there for each other. Thanks again for a wonderful first 200 episodes. Here's to many, many more 200 episodes to come. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.